Hey everyone, Sam Shepler here, and the topic of today's video is how to generate a list of high potential business ideas and narrow that list down into the final 2 or 3 ideas that you're then going to want to test. And obviously the ultimate goal is to go from a long list of potential ideas to the 2 or 3 most promising ideas from which you're going to test and determine what the best business idea for you is. So how do we do this? The first thing that we're going to do is you're going to think to yourself, what are problems that I have solved for myself over the course of my life? All right. So what are problems, that I've solved for myself? Another way to think of this is, what is something that I've learned? All right. So for example, say, think about why most people start a business in the fitness industry, whether it's online coaching or even whether they become personal trainers. 99% of cases, people who become successful, they start doing personal training or running an online fitness business because they made a awesome fitness transformation themselves. Maybe they either lost a lot of weight or they went from skinny to gaining a lot of muscle, and they learned a lot throughout the process. So that's a problem that they solved for themselves, or a transformation they made. So the first thing that you want to do, again, is just make a long list, as long as possible, about everything that you've achieved as it relates to transforming yourself, evolving yourself. What problems have you solved for yourself? Okay, so in that list, you should be that should ideally be like, again, as long as possible. It might have 8 things on it, it might have 25. You were here, you did some research, you did some work, and then you solved something for yourself. All right, so once you have that list, you're gonna want to, again, and their problems big or small, but you're gonna really kind of focus in on what are the largest problems on that list. What problems have the most potential for impact? And one way to think about this is, what really matters to people, right? So typically, it's people that you can kind of think of it in 3 ways, or there's 3 categories. A lot of times people buy things that are either going to help their health, that are either going to help them make money, so wealth, or that are going to help their relationships. So for example, something in the health niche would be, how to cure or improve a certain type of predisposition through a certain diet, or even just how to lose weight and improve XYZ through a new diet, or through intermittent fasting, or through a specific diet, like quote unquote fad diets. So and again, I'm not suggesting that that's what you should do, but that's just an example of how many people are successful. And so for wealth, it's like that's pretty obvious. It's like helping people make more money, and everyone that's always a very attractive offer, because if you can help people make more money in a specific area, and if your coaching service or your product or your program or your whatever it is costs a couple $100 or costs $500, but if people follow it, they're very likely to, almost certain to make multiple 10 times more than that. It becomes a no-brainer. That's an easy investment, and people can track if it's successful for themselves. And the third one is relationships. That's another really big category. So For example, obviously, there's a lot of individuals out there who help other individuals with, dating, and different styles for men and women. But so that's another example. So if you're having trouble thinking about your list of ideas, your laundry list, we're just trying to create a big list here. First and foremost, try and think about those categories of health, wealth, and relationships. What health problems have you solved or improved? What wealth problems have you solved or improved? Have you figured out a way to make extra money on the side? Things like that. And what relationship problems have you solved? Did you go from being very shy to being extremely outgoing? And I don't also necessarily mean romantic relationships. It could be you went from being just really challenged with public speaking to being an expert. So just think about that. And so after we've got our big list and we're thinking about, kind of ranking them by, which one solves the biggest problem. Okay. So then you're going to want to, rank them by what is actually measurable. And, in a certain period of time, you could deliver a specific result. And this is very important because it's really hard to start a business and provide a product. And well, it's not really hard. It's basically it's more than really hard. It's basically not going to work, except for in rare cases where you just work your ass off and have a lot of time to really perfect things, which is not most scenarios for most people. So getting back to that, and getting back to what I was talking about, you have to solve a big problem, and it has to be a clear result. So take your list and try and tie a specific, and try to ask yourself, is this something that's measurable? So for example, to use the fitness example again, if you're doing fitness coaching and your offer is like, it's a 6-month transformation, and you're gonna take people in over 6 months, and they follow your program exactly, and they follow your coaching, they follow your nutrition advice. In 6 months, there will be a measurable difference, both qualitatively and just like looking at people and before and after photos, and quantitatively, and they can track that. So that's again a good example, and that's why a lot of people are very successful with things such as that. Now, what you want to avoid in general, or just realize that you're going to have to sharpen the niche a lot more, is anything that is the results success is vague. You never want the success of your offer to be vague. It needs to kind of be like a binary thing, right? So for example, if you're like, I help people become happier and more self-aware through mindfulness and meditation training. Now that sounds all well and good, but that alone, I don't think would be very successful for most people, because you really can't, measure that. So how are you going to measure, if someone's happier? How are you going to measure if someone has more self-awareness? How are you? A lot of people, are interested in consciousness and helping other people be more conscious people. And while I support that, the caveat is, that's very hard to measure and have a quantifiable result. So if you're going to do something that's a little bit less measurable, you have to tie it to something that is measurable. So say, the meditation example, you could say something like, I help people become, through meditation, I help people build self-awareness and eliminate any arguments with their spouse. So in that case, you are, there's a measurable result. All right. So there we go. There's just a little rant about having a measurable result. And so once you have this list and you're able to take it through this criteria, you should be able to eliminate a lot of the potential options, and you should be able to see what's going to provide the biggest impact to people. And ultimately, all you're trying to do is take the ideas that you have, the experiences that you have, the problems you've solved for people, and determine from the list of reasonable options what would be most important to other people. What would other people most care about? What's the most valuable to them? And then when you have one or two of those left, or two or three, those are going to be the business ideas that you want to test. And then from your tests, in talking to your potential prospects, you will figure out very quickly if there is a market for that and how much people are willing to pay for that. And the testing will be a topic of another video, since this video is already getting a little bit long. But yeah, if there's any questions, please let me know. And I look forward to helping all of you guys find a niche business idea, finding your niche that combines something that you care about and you're interested in with a market need, so you can make some money with it. Whether that's a side hustle alongside your normal job, or it's basically a business that you want to grow beyond a side hustle. All right, that's all for today, and I'll see you in the next video.